Namaste friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna North and I've been living and traveling in India for the past 4 years or so. I come from Finland, which is a complete different country compared to India. So obviously when I was still living in my home country, I was pretty much a different person than I am now. During these 4 years that I've been in India, I have learned so many things that I believe make me both a better person in general, but obviously also help me to survive living in India. There are obviously tons of things, both small and big, that I have learned in these past 4 years, but these are the 10 most important ones that I have learned in India. Number 1 is probably the most obvious one, which is of course Hindi skills. I'm still at a very basic beginner's level, लेकिन मैं थोड़ी हिंदी बोलती हूँ. I haven't been so far able to learn as much Hindi as I'd like, which is mostly because I'm the kind of student who really needs a teacher or a tutor to be able to learn a language well. And in the cities that we've lived so far, I haven't been really able to find a suitable teacher for myself. But last autumn, when I was staying with my in-laws in Jaipur, I took a week's intensive course in a Hindi school there, and oh my god, that was so much fun, and I was able to up my game in Hindi so much better, and I'm really looking forward to getting back to online classes with the same teacher, and hopefully this time next year I will be able to even make some of these vlogs partially in Hindi at least. Number 2 is hygiene and cleanliness. Coming from Finland, which has such a different climate, there is barely any pollution and it's at least visibly very clean. I never really got used to taking daily care of hygiene and cleanliness so meticulously, as it's the suitable thing to do, at least here in India, and I would say pretty much a recommendable thing in the West too, especially in these times of coronavirus. But to get more specific info on this, I refer to you to watch my earlier vlog on the 7 Indian hygiene habits that I believe the West should definitely learn too. So check that out, there is the card there. Number 3. The Western countries and Finland too rely very heavily on the Western medicine. And we don't really have the same kind of habit there to rely on natural remedies and ingredients and all these like very homely everyday kind of ways to maintain our basic health, but we like to go to doctors a lot and take a lot of medicine. But obviously here in India, I've got to know so much more about the Ayurvedic way of living and all these natural remedies and ingredients that we can use at our own kitchen that can really help boost our immunity and our health. And also all these different kinds of lifestyle choices that are really well able to help us maintain a healthy way of living. Some of my very favorite spices that I pretty much like to add to anything, such as haldi and dalchini. And even though I really liked to use spices even before I came to India, I never really knew about those health effects that they also offer on top of tasting absolutely amazing. I've also just recently had an Ayurvedic treatment to help me with my chronic digestive issues. And the point of this treatment was to be able to help me completely go off of my Western medicine that was supposed to keep my tummy working properly. And these were prescribed to me by my Finnish doctor, and I was supposed to keep taking these pretty much forever. But now, since I'm almost finished with my Ayurvedic treatment, I'm at the point where I don't need those Western medicine at all for my digestion to work regularly and properly, and there is only this Triphala powder that I keep taking. Okay, so here are my Triphala bottles. I used to hate taking Triphala powder because it tastes so terrible, but this I take a little spoonful every morning after breakfast and every evening after dinner with a little bit of honey, and it's so much easier to consume if you don't like powder. Himalayan Wellness has really awesome capsules too. I have lots of these, but yeah, point is to get off of these two. And then the wonder of ghee that I take every morning on an empty tummy. Doesn't really taste that good, but I just drown it away with some lemon water and all good to go. The fourth thing that I've learned while living in India is obviously the Indian cooking, and I'm just absolutely crazy about it. I pride myself over the fact that I'm learning all these really traditional recipes and different kinds of regional special dishes. But the number one most important thing for me when I first moved to India was that I wanted to learn how to make the perfect round roti. It really doesn't matter to my husband, and I don't think my mother-in-law would have cared so much either in the end, but I just really wanted to learn the art of roti making to show her that I really value the Indian culture too and all the traditions that we have here. And since I had heard that it is basically the test for an Indian daughter-in-law, I just really wanted to impress my mother-in-law. And I am really happy to say that to this day, she just really loves my cooking too. Though I would say that she still is the number one cook in this family. Number 5. So, my spoiled Western ass has really had to get used to simple living here in India. In Finland, we pretty much have a limitless supply of whatever we want, whenever we want in the stores. And if we break something, it's really easy to just buy a new thing and get on with it. But here in India, the grocery stores really work by these more local varieties and seasonal supply, and whenever the deliveries come to the stores, they come. So there might be empty shelves after the last customers, and you just really have to make do with what you get in the store. And I think that is just a much more sustainable and awesome way for things to work in general, is that just limits that kind of wasteful culture that there is in the West. And I've learned to appreciate what I have more here in India and just be grateful of what we get. For example, in the Indian cooking, you don't really always have to have the same stuff, so you just like really whip it up with whatever you have in the fridge. And of course, there is the principle of jugaad. So if something breaks, you really try to fix it first before throwing anything away, or even kind of assign this all new purpose for a broken thing. And even if you really have to end up throwing something away if it's beyond repair, even then you can donate it somewhere so someone else might be able to do something with it. And we're much more cautious here about using the natural resources. We really keep an eye out on our water usage, if we have the electricity on, and yeah, just in general, try to be as less wasteful as possible and just appreciate whatever we have here. Number 6, and this is probably the most important thing that I could have learned here in India, and that is patience. I never thought of myself as an impatient person even in Finland, but oh my god, do I even still have to learn more patience living here. Finland is a much more organized society where we really stick to schedules, and everything is just like very strictly organized and functions in these like really clear-cut ways. But here in India, it's so much more chaotic, and people don't value punctuality as much as we do in the West, especially in a country like Finland, where I'm not just on time, I get there early. But in India, if someone says 2 minutes, 5 minutes, it can mean anything between 2 minutes, an hour, few hours, next week, who knows? The buses or trains don't really run on time, and the schedules are erratic. Home deliveries arrive whenever they might arrive. So in all this chaos, I've just learned to deep breathe and let it go. Whereas in Finland, I would think that being late is either very embarrassing for me if I'm the one who is late, or for the other person, very disrespectful towards other, which is not the case in India. It's just a very different culture, so you just really need to be able to learn some patience and not take it at the face value. Number 7. And that is how my political views have developed living here in India. Finland being the most equal country in the world, I've never really witnessed something that I would consider true inequality in Finland. I don't see there being so many gender issues or classism or much racism for that matter. So I always had very libertarian views in Finland, and I believed in individual freedoms and actually not even having a state system at all. But then moving to here and living in India has totally shifted my views on this matter, because here the inequality is present every single day. There is extreme riches and poverty, there's inequality between genders, class, caste, income levels, color of the skin, and seeing this has just brought my views so much more towards the left. Wait, if you're looking at this, this is your left. I just believe in the concept of a social welfare state so much more these days, and I think that it is every state's job to take care of its least privileged people. And in Finland, I never ever considered myself a feminist, but these days I very proudly call myself feminist, because there are so many issues here in India that I really wish to dedicate my energies towards and make it a better country and a place to live, also for me and my husband's future kids someday. And we, for example, really wish to have daughters at some point. So I just really wish that they would get to live in a more equal world. Number 8, and this has been, again, a very challenging task for a sensitive person as myself, and that is developing thicker skin. Especially as a foreign woman, I get a lot of unwanted attention out in the streets. There are a lot of stares and even downright harassment from several individuals. There's a lot of prying questions and comments that I get, and I'm just so used to strangers not getting into my personal space in Finland that it was a big cultural shock coming to India for the first time and having strangers give me all this kind of attention. So realizing that that is probably never going to change, I had to very much develop a thicker skin. My mom actually always thought that I'm too sensitive for a place like India, and living here would totally crack me. And I do have to admit that I still get hurt every time that I have to turn away from a kid begging on the street. But living here, I've just had to come to terms with the fact that I'll never be able to help each and every kid, no matter how much I want to. So for my own well-being, I've just had to become less sensitive about these issues and develop a thicker skin and try to put as much of my energy into the things that I actually can control and help with. Number 9. Living in Finland, I used to be very black and white with my opinions, and I never really liked it when people disagreed with me. I did let them, have their opinions and get out of my life with them, but I was always very stubborn with my own opinions, and I just would not budge with those. But living in a country of 1.3 billion people, there are 1.3 billion opinions out there too. And in India, people make much more noise about them than they do in Finland. And there is a lot of debate going on, and people very easily start shooting nasty comments to those who disagree with them. And that is not something that I'm very comfortable with. So even though back in the day, I would very easily get sucked into online debates and even fights, I just really have to learn how to get myself out of those situations and be more accepting towards other people's opinions. And what has really helped me in achieving this goal is that I've also tried to learn the background where most Indian people come from. And there are so many different regions and religions, castes, and all this kind of history here in India that is completely different from my own Finnish background, that understanding this and putting people's opinions in that perspective really helps me get so much less frustrated with them and just accept that this is the way that they think, and they might change it at some point with the world developing as it is, or they might not, and that is completely fine with me. Finally, number 10. Many people might say that I'm already out of my comfort zone and really brave for moving out of Finland and coming to India, but I'm still a person who just really much enjoys her own comfort zone. And even though sometimes I might take these big leaps out of that, it still makes me quite anxious and uncomfortable to get out of the comfort zone. And the thing is that in India, it's not just sometimes, it is a daily occurrence, because you never know what you're going to get. So you won't be able to predict what you're getting, because there is still so much more for me to learn about the Indian way of living. I feel all the time like I'm out of my comfort zone, and that just was a very hard thing for me through many years and caused me a lot of anxiety. But now I'm finally at the point where I think that I have learned to let go of that anxiety and my expectations and just go with the flow and take everything as it comes. And now I'm not experiencing that same kind of anxiety being out of my comfort zone, but actually embracing it finally. Thank God. So guys, these were the 10 most important things I feel I've learned during my 4 years in India. What did you think about the stuff that I shared here? Please do share your opinions down below in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. And remember, during these awful times of the lockdown, stay home, stay safe. Please take care of each other and yourselves, and I hope to see you very soon again. Bye.